Ethereum is on the long road to its renaissance, but the continuing dominance of Bitcoin, coupled with the slow technical updates, have led many people to seriously doubt the future of Ethereum. The general pessimism around Ethereum has only been increasing, with Ethereum breaking under the 2 million Satoshi line sometime back, and with the Bitcoin maximalist rhetoric reaching a fever pitch over the past few months. All of which leads me to believe that Ethereum is probably largely being ignored and is possibly very much undervalued at the moment. I personally am still very bullish on the future of Ethereum. In this video, I'm going to lay out some of the reasons why I'm bullish about the future of Ethereum and where Ethereum is now. Quick note as well, BYBIT has a new deposit bonus going until the end of the month. Deposit 0.1 Bitcoin and get $60 in Bitcoin for a trading bonus. Deposit 0.2 Bitcoin and get a $110 trading bonus. It can take up to 72 hours to get the bonus through to your account. This offer is valid for new signups. Link below to get started if you're not signed up yet, as well as older users signed up under my link. Please remember, of course, that BYBIT is for experienced traders only, in that margin trading is a high-risk affair. So, let's start off this conversation with the Ethereum killers. For all of the Ethereum killers out there, there really hasn't been any significant shift to other blockchains yet. The overwhelming majority of projects are still building on Ethereum right now. Yes, some are migrating over to BINANCE chain or to EOS or to Tron or to Stellar, but other blockchains barely register in terms of applications built on their chains when compared to Ethereum. The network effect is still firmly in the hands of Ethereum. In fact, most of the Ethereum killers are actively working on Ethereum interoperability. They all want to build bridges to go to Ethereum. They all want the Ethereum virtual machine to be compatible with their blockchains. They all want to be Solidity compatible. Just look at Telegram. The highly anticipated blockchain of the very popular messenger service will be compatible with Ethereum. Not with Tron, not with EOS, not with Stellar, but with Ethereum. And Hyperledger has welcomed its first public blockchain. Do you want to have a quick guess which blockchain they decide to welcome in? It's Ethereum. Of course it's Ethereum. And look, of course, there are some exceptions to all of this, with blockchains that are doing none of these things and which are really trying to cut their own paths, and I'm excited about those too. There are some great competitors out there looking to really push forward their own vision. You have Cardano and Tezos and Ontology and a good handful of other projects as well that could really shake this narrative about Ethereum dominating the smart contract platform space in the coming years. But anyone coming for Ethereum, they have got a lot of catching up to do. And even if they catch up to where Ethereum is today, then they need to go farther, because Ethereum has a massive amount of development happening right now, which basically makes Ethereum a moving target. The challenge for these competitors is getting hundreds of different wallet providers and exchanges and custodians and all that kind of stuff to support their new network, which is no easy task for sure. And we have seen many new networks really struggle with this. Building liquidity to the billions per day, that is also no easy task. Building a large developer community, very, very hard, which is of course why so many of the newer blockchains want to be Ethereum compatible to be able to easily poach Ethereum developers. Then of course getting those developers to actually build apps on top of your chain, which has low wallet support, few users, and terrible liquidity, again, very damn hard. When those same developers could just go and build on Ethereum, which is already basically everything that your chain is not. Then, of course, you need to find users for those applications, which again requires that network effect to be successful. If we're going to talk about apps that have the potential to achieve actual widespread use, well, Samsung phones, the Brave browser, the Opera browser, they are all implementing Ethereum wallets. And rumors are currently going around that LG will soon join the fray and add Ethereum wallets to its future generations of phone as well. And that all seems like really just a nod in favor of Ethereum with so many browsers and so many phones, including Ethereum wallets. Again, it makes it so much more accessible. At this stage, Ethereum's biggest problem, though, is itself, not the competitor chains. Ethereum's network utilization recently surpassed the 90% mark, and while the surge in transactions is on the one hand a good thing, as it is a clear sign of adoption of the chain, on the other hand, Ethereum does not currently have the throughput to handle this kind of traffic, which inevitably leads to network congestion and, of course, higher fees. The scalability bottleneck for Ethereum is a massive issue, one which, if not fixed soon enough, will see much of what I talked about above quickly shift over to a competitor chain that can do what Ethereum is supposed to be doing. The scalability issue is, at this time, without a doubt, hindering adoption of Ethereum. Large organizations which may want to use the Ethereum blockchain will look at Ethereum and realize that the chain is near capacity, and thus them joining the chain with some kind of large-scale project could push the chain over the edge, making transactions slower and more expensive, not only for themselves, but also for the rest of the network. The increase in fees and network congestion has, of course, already seen projects move away from Ethereum and build on EOS and Tron and Binance and other chains, as mentioned before. But outside of these projects, the overwhelming majority of applications and tokens continue to live on Ethereum in spite of Ethereum's current challenges. Many other blockchains are still in their testnet phases, or they have simply failed to attract any kind of business or community, in spite of being functional for months, or in some cases, well over a year. That being said, Ethereum 1.0 currently is failing, which means that Ethereum 2.0 needs to come sooner than later. And the testnet for Ethereum 2.0 is rumored to be launching very soon. Always with the testnets, aren't we, in crypto? Come on, crypto, what's up with that? Anyway, the testnet for Ethereum is now somewhat imminent, and if it does get launched in the next month or so, then they may very well meet the target date of January 3rd, 2020 for the launch of Ethereum 2.0. So if we do see the testnet rolling out relatively on schedule, then we should see the Genesis block start early next year, since we'd have already had a few months running on testnet. Now, the Genesis block launch starts with just proof of stake. The process will likely be initiated at DevCon next month, when the deposit contract is scheduled to be launched. Initially, the new chain, Ethereum 2.0, will just be validating the proof of work block headers and the staking itself, with it basically being described by Vitalik as halfway between a testnet and a mainnet. Question for you: will you be staking Ethereum when it launches? A lot of people certainly will be. And the effect of proof of stake on the price of Ethereum could be massive, as millions of Ethereum flow into the proof of stake mechanism. Ethereum will really see an increase in scarcity on exchanges. And with the block rewards likely to decrease dramatically in ETH 2.0, and with millions of Ethereum currently being locked up for decentralized finance applications, and which is a number that's growing all the time, by the way, it would seem that Ethereum is well poised to reach higher prices moving into the next year or two. There is a hard fork currently set for October for Ethereum 1.0 chain. It's called Istanbul. It will boost interoperability with Zcash and improve denial of service attack resilience, among other efficiency improvements. And on the topic of ZK Snarks and also ZK Starks have both been explored as options to drastically scale the current blockchain, even if a lot of the energy is currently on trying to launch Ethereum 2.0. But just by using ZK Snarks, Ethereum could be scaled to around 500 transactions per second. Anyway, the second, more ambitious update, of course, is Ethereum 2.0, which is codenamed Serenity. Now, whether it happens on January 3rd as anticipated or whether it is delayed until sometime later in quarter one, this move into Ethereum 2.0 is going to be huge. Well, starting with basic functionality, the whole spectrum of what Serenity is bringing to the table includes snarks for privacy and for scaling, as well as sharding, via which Ethereum will be able to handle 1024x the current capacity, since there were 1024 shards, and each shard is a copy clone of the current Ethereum network, all linked together via cross sharding. Then on top of that, we can add in plasma and a rich array of layer 2 solutions, and then you kind of start to understand just how powerful Ethereum is gearing up to be. However, when Ethereum 2.0 launches, the team is going to be taking a wait and see approach to ensure that the proof of stake mechanism is actually functioning properly and as intended before bringing in the rest of those features, particularly the sharding, which is going to be really the most game-changing for Ethereum in terms of scaling, so that's not scheduled to happen until sometime later next year. However, one of the less sexy but equally important parts of the upgrade is the transition from the Ethereum virtual machine to the Ethereum Web Assembly, or EWASM. Now, the Ethereum Web Assembly will replace the EVM as the state execution engine of the Ethereum network. It will be one of the final stages of the Ethereum upgrade. WebAssembly, by the way, is already adopted or in the process of being adopted by a range of different players in the crypto space like Polkadot and Cardano and EOS and Tron. This is an important part of the upgrade because the EVM was designed to emphasize correctness rather than efficiency, whereas the WebAssembly emphasizes efficiency and quick loading. Also, the Ethereum Foundation recently announced grants worth more than $2 million for 7 different companies which have been assigned the duty of delivering long-standing multi-client testnets for Serenity, which is pretty cool. But more important than all that is the fact that Ethereum has the biggest developer community, and this really cannot be underestimated. Ethereum has 4 times more developers than any other cryptocurrency ecosystem. According to a recent study by Electric Capital, there are on average 1,156 developers making monthly commits to Ethereum. That is 4 times greater than the next biggest ecosystem, which happens to be Bitcoin. Now, some people will try to convince you that Bitcoin will do everything. But it's simply not true, and Bitcoin doesn't need to do everything. There is a Cambrian-level explosion of financial evolution currently happening, and it is not happening on Bitcoin. Some of it is, but not most of it. The decentralized financial movement is firmly finding its center of gravity on Ethereum. Most stablecoins live on Ethereum. Paxos has just launched a Pax Gold token. Now, it's far from the first gold-backed token, but it could become the biggest considering how influential Paxos already is. It's regulated and redeemable for physical gold, but you can easily swap that gold for, wrapped BTC and then swap that over for DAI and earn interest on the DAI, etc., etc. In addition to the stable coins and the gold, of course, we have all this other stuff like tokenized real estate and tokenized art and MakerDAO, which gives you the ability to make a loan to yourself with your own collateral. We have Compound Finance, which is a peer-to-peer marketplace for making and taking loans and earning interest. We have investment platforms. We have on-chain derivatives. Really, Ethereum is becoming programmable money to the next degree. It's crazy what's happening on Ethereum right now. And we have barely started to see what is possible with the crypto industry. The next years are going to be super interesting for decentralized finance. Tachyon, an accelerator backed by Consensus, is looking to help fund up to 15 decentralized finance startups. And that's just one little story. There's a lot of stories just like that happening right now. Open finance is building up to be a clear killer use case for Ethereum. Decentralized finance on Ethereum can really be the foundation of a massive new digital economy. Someone has even made a no-loss lottery built on Ethereum. Basically, you buy a ticket for 20 DAI. The DAI is then locked up on Compound to generate interest, and then one lucky winner earns all of the interest that has been generated by the pool at the end of the cycle. And all of the losers, they get their 20 bucks back. Pretty cool. To help promote the uptake of decentralized finance, Chainlink has just unveiled what it is calling Mixicles, which are decentralized finance tools that are embedded with oracles to help promote privacy for users. But as exciting as all of that sounds, we are still in the very early days of what is possible with Ethereum. Currently, Ethereum has over 2,500 dApps built on top of it, but there is a major disparity when looking at the number of actual users. Only around 15 to 20,000 daily users of all decentralized applications combined across the entire Ethereum network. Most of those users are only on a handful of dApps like IDEX and MakerDAO for decentralized finance stuff, as well as a few random games like My Crypto Heroes, which has a few thousand daily users. That being said, the roads and the infrastructure, they are being built for the future of Ethereum now. Just check out this announcement, very interesting one. China Telecom is set to develop blockchain smartphones, with the state-run telecommunications giant saying that its 5G era SIM cards will be blockchain ready and will even allow devices to act as nodes. And the SIM will have full support for which blockchain? You guessed it. Ethereum, and ERC20 tokens as well. Data, IoT, games, payments, micropayments, insurance, decentralized finance, all that stuff happening on Ethereum currently and being built for even more in the future. In 5 years' time, people are going to be using a wide range of Ethereum applications without even knowing that they're using it. And when you look at the numerous high-quality teams who are currently building on Ethereum, it becomes very likely that over the next years, Ethereum is going to be surprising a lot of people. Me personally, I am chilling on my ETH stack right now. But how about you? Are you holding Ethereum? Are you buying Ethereum? Are you bullish on the future of Ethereum? Or do you think that someone else is going to come along and simply eat Ethereum's lunch and basically MySpace Ethereum? Hit me up down below in the comment section. I would love to know your opinion. Thank you as always for watching today's video. You guys are totally freaking awesome. If you did enjoy this one, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new around here and click the notification bell to know when I put out a new video. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.